Hello, good evening, one and all. Myself, I'm Hrutika, a member of Career Vihaari. Today, we'll start the second day of our core Java session. We'll start with Java variables. What are Java variables? Java variables are containers for storing data values. In Java, there are different types of variables. For example, we have string, int, float, character, boolean. We have different kinds of variables. Okay, what these variable do is they store data of that specified thing. For example, if we are talking about string, they store only string. If we are taking int, then it will only store integers. It cannot store string, or it cannot store float value in it, or it cannot store, it cannot store a character value in it, or a boolean. Only that specified type only it can store. Okay, string is nothing but anything that, like hello, Hrutika, variable itself is a string. Anything that are more than a single letter, we can call it as string. Int, we all know, whole numbers, that comes under int. Float is nothing but which is having a decimal values. Character is nothing but a single character or a special character, that all comes under character. Boolean is nothing but yes or like true or false, yes or no, or on or off. But usually Boolean will take true or false here. Okay. Uh, like if we talk practically, what are variables means? Variables are nothing but they are very much like a little boxes where you can store information. But what happens here is, but each box is specially, like it will only store for special things. Like if we are naming it as int, or if we are labeling it as int, then it can only store int values. It cannot store a string value or anything like that. So that we can just say, like they're labeled, or okay, like let us take an example. Like like the previous day we have taken the pizza shop example. Now we'll take kitchen itself as an example. Imagine you are high, like in everyone's house there will be kitchen, right? Imagine you are in your kitchen. uh you have different containers, right? In the kitchen we'll be finding different kinds of containers. For example, for sugar we'll be having one container, and for rice we'll be having another container. For oil we'll be having another container, right? Like for different things we'll be having different containers. But can we store sugar in salt? Or can, in our house, will our mother will be storing, like, do your mother store both rice and salt in together? No, she cannot, she will not do that. So what we'll do, we'll just label each box. This box is specified for sugar, this box is specified for salt, rice. We'll be labeling that, so that only that item will go to that specified box. Here in the Java itself, in the Java also, it's similar. Whoever, please turn off your mics. Okay, in Java also, it's just like our kitchen. How we store variables, like how we store all the items in different boxes. In Java also, it will store in different boxes. Like if we are labeling it as string, then it can only have string values in it. Okay, it's a basic example of variables. If you want to talk, like, what is the syntax that we use in Java? It's nothing but like syntax. It's nothing but type. Right now we have discussed, we have many types like string, int, float, characters, boolean, and all. Variable name, and we should assign value to it. This value, whatever this value is, this value should be of this type only. Like we are giving this where name is nothing but it's the name of the container. In this container only this type of item can be stored. That is nothing but the value should be of this type, and the name of that container is nothing but var name. Okay, if for example, if you are taking string str1 equals to hi, then our container, let's just assume this is as a container. Then in this container, what this container name is nothing but str1. This container name is str1. Now in this container, inside of this container, I am having hi. Okay, this is my container. This inside this container name is nothing but str1. In this container, I can only store the value of string. This is the label for this container, and this is the name. Str1 is nothing but the name of the container. Inside this container, I can only store the string values, that is nothing but hi. If I'm taking int num and num is equals to 10, then what will happen? Similar thing will happen. It is nothing but there will be an other container named num, inside which I'll be having 10. Okay, inside this container will be holding the value 10, and this will be of type int. If for example, I'm taking int as type, number as a variable name, and if I'm storing high in it, then definitely it will not accept, because I should only store integer or whole number into this num container. I cannot store high because high is in string. Okay, this is the syntax of how we use Java variables. For example, here string name is equals to John, system.out.println. If we print this, we'll be getting John as the output. Okay, finally we'll see the live. Okay, this is what syntax and Java variables are. Okay, next we'll go to next thing, that is nothing but Java identifiers. What are identifiers? For example, in the same we'll go back to kitchen itself. Now we know that that is rice container, that is salt container and all. But what if we did not give a specified name? If we are not giving salt, or if we are not giving that is rice container, then how will I know that it is rice container or salt container? And what if I give two containers the same name? For example, I'm having three boxes, and I gave, for first box I gave the same, like, let us assume same. I'm having two two containers. In this both containers I am giving, let me take, I okay, let me take, okay, something. I'm having two variables of same type, same name. Will I be like, it's confusing, right? If I want to change the value inside it, in like hi to buy, then what should Java think? Should it go near this or this? It will confuse, right? So we should not confuse the Java compiler, or we should never, so that each and every container should have their unique name, or they should have that unique variable name. That is nothing but identifier. Identifier is nothing but for everything we should identify it uniquely. So that identify, for this also, for the name sake also, we'll be having many things. For example, all Java variables must be identified with unique names. As I said, if we give the same name for two or three variables, then Java compiler will confuse, right? In which it should change, in which it should not change. What if, for example, in the first container it should be changing, but it is changing in the second? Then the whole thing will be like it's not good, right? So it should only, so to identify uniquely we will be using identifiers. These unique names are called identifiers. Identifiers can be short names like x, y, z, pqrs, anything, or a more descriptive names like age, sum, total, volume, and all. It's very much recommended to use descriptive names when we are writing programs, because uh, for as a programmer, if you write code today, you'll understand code today. For today, you'll understand. For tomorrow, you'll understand. What if you see the same code some 1 year after, or 6 months after? Will you get the logic of that code? If it is some 10 to 20 lines, maybe you can identify what it is or what's going on. But if you, for big projects, what will happen? We'll be having some thousands of lines or some hundreds of lines. Will not be having that much capacity. If we use that xyz, we cannot identify the logic what we are using. So it's more recommended to use descriptive names so that we can understand in the future also. What are the general rules for naming variables? We have rules for uh, giving these names. Names can contain letters, digits, underscores, and dollar symbol. Okay. Like the identifiers can have all the letters from a to z. It can have it, like from capital A to z. It can have not small, not capital. It can have all things. It can have digits from 1 to 9. Sorry, from 0 also. It can also have 0. So 0 to 9 it can have. It can also have underscore. It can also have dollar symbol. Mm? In this combination only it can have. It cannot have some other special characters like plus, minus. Like it cannot have other special characters. It can only, the variable name should only contain this things only. It should be from a to z, or capital A to z, or 0 to 9, or underscore, or a dollar symbol. Name, how this name should begin? It should begin with a letter. It can begin with a letter. From a to z it can begin, or from capital A to capital z it can begin. And it should always start with a lowercase letter. It cannot contain white spaces. Sorry, only a to z, small letters only it should start. If we take capital letters, then usually when we are giving a class name, then we'll start that class name with a capital letter. So it's a thing that we use for, if we are using capital letters, then it's used for keeping the class name, not the variable name. Your name should start with a lowercase letter and cannot contain white spaces. White spaces is nothing but a space, a tab, or a line space. We should not contain white spaces. Names can also begin with dollar symbol. It can also begin with dollar symbol, and it can also begin with underscore. But it cannot begin with number. It can never begin with, it can never start with a number. It can begin with a letter. It can begin with a dollar symbol. It can begin with white underscore, but it cannot start with a number. Names are case sensitive. My where and my where are like, this is case sensitive. Capital A and capital V and small v are very different. Okay, they are case sensitive, so we should remember what we are giving and what case we are giving. Like reserved words are nothing but, we have many reserved words in Java. For example, we have if, else, true, false, int, string, all that all we'll discuss in later session. That all reserved words cannot be used as variable name, because reserved means nothing but they're having some special meaning and they are used for some purpose in the Java program. So we cannot use that as a variable name. Okay. For example, if we want to create a variable name, let's create a variable name age. Age is a valid identifier. And age, not, like we can have anything, but I cannot have 5 age or anything. It should not never start with an digit or any other special characters rather than underscore and dollar symbol. These are the general rules for naming variables. Data types in Java. What are data types? Right now we have discussed, we have string, int, char, boolean. Then like there are we are giving labels that it can only store that. But what are this? Actually, in Java, we have two different types of data types. One is primitive one, and the other one is non-primitive one. Primitive are nothing but they are predefined, or Java provides us this. It's nothing but we don't need it's not a customized one, or Java already knows that meaning. In primitive, we have two types. One is boolean, and the other one is numeric. Okay, in boolean we have only boolean, which has two values. It can be either true or false. In numeric is nothing but any number or number types things that all will come under numeric. It is of two types, character and integral. Integral is nothing but we have two types. Again, it is divided: integer and floating. Integer are nothing but all the numbers or whole numbers that comes in under integers. Floating point is nothing but if it has any decimal values in that, then we call it as floating point values. Okay, I already explained. Non-primitive types are nothing but uh, they are actually they are not like they are not user defined or something like that. Non-primitive, we can just tell it as they are something that we will create it. Java will not provide the non-primitive types. Okay, we will be creating that. For example, our like class will be a non-primitive one, so we'll be creating the class. Like it will be having object, it will be having like inside the class will be having many methods and variable like attributes and all that. All we will be creating for our it is something customized thing, we can tell. That are not in that we have string, arrays, classes. We will all learn all this in detail in next sessions. Okay. Okay. Boolean is nothing but its size is 1 bit. By default it is in Java. Actually what happens is, in Java, if we just in Java, if we just create a variable, if we just create boolean, let's just take x. If we are just giving, if we are not, if we just created it, we did not assign any value to it, then what will happen? It should have some value, right? It is not having any value. Like I did not give any value for now. But what will happen is Java will give some default values for this. It cannot be undefined, it should have some values. False. If it is a byte type, then it will be assigned. So what will Java do? Java, when we are declaring because Java by default it will be assigning some value to it. That is false. If it is a byte type, then it will be assigning 0. What is the difference between byte, short, int? They are all integral, because that is nothing but they all store integer values, that is whole number values. But the size of the container will differ. Right now we have discussed, right? We have a container. Inside that container we have high. That container size will be differed. If we take byte, then the container will be somewhat very small, and it can only store uh, only the small things. If we think about short, the container size will become somewhat big. If we think of integer, the container size it will become somewhat bigger. Long, it is very much big container, so we can store a very large value in long. Okay, in byte we can only store values from minus 128 to 127. We cannot store more than this. Like i- only in this range we can be storing the number. After this range we cannot store the number in byte. Okay, these are the ranges The short have the range of minus 2 3 32768 to 32767. Okay, this is the range of short. Integer, it is having this much range. Long, it will be having this much. It is nothing but the long can store a big value, and when compared to byte can only store until 127, but it can store until like this value number. Okay, float like what is float and double? We'll be having some decimal values like 6.76, 7.77, and all, right? That decimal values all will be stored in float or double. Float is nothing but it can, like, it can store decimal values until 6. It can store after that point, it can store 6 values, 6 digits after that. When we talk about double can store until 15 digits, like after that dot or after that point. If we are talking 2 point, then if it is a float, then it can store only this much. If it is a double, it can store 15 numbers like that. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, it can store until 6. After the point, it can store 16 digit values, decimal values. It can store until 6 decimal values. That is the difference, okay, between the float and double. What is character? Character can hold any special, only a single character. It can hold a single character like A, B, or single character, single A, single B, single D. Like that, it can store the values. What is typecasting? The typecasting is when you assign a value of one primitive data type to another type. In Java, there are two ways of casting. What happens now? For example, I am having, let me assume that I have string. I need to store some value high here, or I have stored 10 here. By mistake, I have taken like this. But what I want, like, I don't want this to be a string. I want it to be an integer, or I want something like, I don't want it to be a string anymore. I want it as an integer, but I have by mistaken I have taken it as string. Then what I should do? I should typecast it. uh, Typecasting is done in two ways: widening casting and narrowing casting. Widening is nothing but, previously we have discussed, the size of the containers differs from one data type to other data type. Byte being very small container, and double float are very large containers, right? So when we are taking the value of byte and we are storing in the short, then nothing will, like, that data will not be lost, because byte will be a very small value, and that value can easily fit in the short data type, because short data type container is very much bigger when compared to byte. But when we are doing the reverse, when, for example, just assume we are having like long data type, and we are having 15 decimal points in it. But now I want to convert into int. Then what will happen? Integer container is very much smaller when compared to long, right? It cannot hold the all that decimal values in it. It can only hold the numeric value of it. So what will happen? Data will be lost, like we will lose the data if we convert it into integer. So it is not correct, right? So whenever widening casting is done, it is done automatically by the Java. If we are by mistake, for example, I have taken byte, some y is equals to 10. Now I'm taking int z, then I'm giving y value to it. Nothing will happen here, because Why is byte is very small when compared to int can store the byte value, so it automatically Java will not give any error for us. It will directly convert this value into integer value, and it will store in the int. Okay, Java will never give error for this. But what if we do the reverse process? We are having int, let us assume p, we are having some 25. Now I should uh, keep that in byte. Now what Java will do? Java will give us an error because byte is a very small container, right? It cannot hold integer value, so it will give us error. Because this is a very there might be chances of losing data, right? So it will give us error. For this, if we want, if by but we want the int to be converted to byte. If we are having such conditions, what we'll do? We'll just keep we'll just typecast it. Okay, typecasting will be done like this. Okay, inside parenthesis we'll be giving what type we are changing that data. Okay, by this typecasting will be done. I hope you understand what widening and narrowing means. Next, coming to Java comments. What are Java comments? Comments are nothing but comments can be used to explain Java code and to make it more readable. It can also be used to prevent execution when testing alternative code. Actually, what comments do is they will give more clarity for the code, and it will give like for documentation purposes also we will be using comments in the program, because we'll be having more number of code. As the number of code increases, we'll get confusion, right? So that for that, to make things clearer, we use uh, comments. And to give some documentation, or if we are explaining that code, if we want to explain that code, we'll be writing that inside the comments itself. For debugging purpose, for example, if I have a big code and I want to test it, or I want to, like, if that code is giving some part of a code is giving me error, then to check which part of the code is giving error, I'll comment some part of the code, and then I will check. By that, I will be knowing which part is giving error. For debugging purpose, I'll be using, and also for testing purpose, also I'll be using comments. Okay, we have two types of comments. One is single line comment and multi-line comment. Single line comment is nothing but only single line will be commented. We can use a single line comment by using double slashes. After slashes, whatever you write in that line, that will be commented. It will not be read by the Java compiler. Any text between or after the double slashes and the end of the line is ignored by Java. It will not be executed. System.out.println hello world will be executed, but slash this is a command will not be executed, because Java will think this is a comment. Okay, multi-line comments. Now using double slash, we can only comment a single line, or that line we can comment. We cannot comment 2 3 lines. To comment 2 3 lines, we'll be using multi-line comments. Its syntax is a forward slash followed by asterisk, and then it will end similarly. Okay, this is the syntax of multi-line comments. Then coming to operators. What are operators? Operators are used to perform operations on variables and values. Like, operators are nothing but they are used to perform operations between variables. If we have 10 and 20, if we want to add them, then we'll be using 10 plus 20. That plus is nothing but an operator. Okay, in the example below, like 100 plus 50, 100 plus this plus is nothing but it's making the operate it is an operator which performs addition operation. Okay, in Java we have different types of operators, like arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, bitwise operators. In arithmetic operators are nothing but we have plus, minus, and all. Assignment operators, arithmetic. We'll start with arithmetic operators. In arithmetic operators, we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, we have division, we have modulus. Okay, what addition will do? If we are giving 10 plus 20, it will do the addition. We all know addition, basic addition. That is 30. It will give 30 as output. If we are doing subtraction, 10 minus 20, then what will be the output? 10 minus 10 will be this. Okay, if we are multiplying 10 into 5, then 50 will be the output. What 10 100 divided by 10 will give us 10, right? Okay, 100. If we are wanting the remainder, what is the remainder of this? The remainder of it will be 0, because if we, modulus is nothing but it will provide us the remainder. These are all the arithmetic operation. We have plus, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. Modulus is nothing but it will give us the remainder of that thing. We have assignment operators. Assignment operators is nothing but we is equals to is nothing but a simple assignment operator. If we are wanting x to have some 10 value, then we'll be giving like this. What this will do, 10 value is assigned to x using is equals to here is nothing but a assignment operator. We also have many compound operators, compound assignment operators. Is nothing but x plus is equals to 10. It's nothing, what it will do is it will do x is equals to x plus 10. At the same moment it will add 10 to it, and also that will be given to x. Okay, this is the as in compound like we also have minus equals to, asterisk equals to, divided by equals to, modulus equals to. Okay, these are all the compound assignment operators. Comparison operators is nothing but we can also name it as relational operators. When we are comparing, we will be using that. For example, equals to we'll use for checking. Not equals to, greater than we have, less than we have, greater than equals to, less than equals to, will be hang. These are the comparison operators. We have logical operators. We have three types of logical. One is and or not. And will be and or not. Bitwise we have many, like we have and we have not bitwise and bitwise or bitwise XOR, bitwise complement, like left shift right shift. We have all this, but we'll discuss it in tomorrow's class. We'll end these all the operators. Right now whatever I have discussed, tomorrow's class will make a we'll learn using VS Code. We'll write the programs and we'll execute that in tomorrow's session. Okay. For today, it's done. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.